Hi guys, and we're in for the second episode of Gold Medal Mindset. We're joined with Cammy as we normally are, and our first guest, our inaugural guest in Gold Medal Mindset. We thought we'd get one of the highlights of the gym, the handsome, the articulate Peter Smith. How are we doing, Peter?
All good here, Kieran. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks, Cammy. Pleasure to be your first guest.
Peter is a member of the gym, but he's also worked for ITV, so we kind of thought he'd be a nice first guest for us since he talks for a living. And we're pretending to talk for a living, so we thought he would be a good person to try and to get in the podcast first. So, how long have you been training at the gym, actually, Peter? I was trying to work this out in my head before we started.
Well, I started with you in 2017, I think.
I was thinking it was definitely 2016 or 2017.
I think it was just before I got married, and it was 2017. And we'd only done a few sessions before, and then or was it just? I think was it just before and after? But I've been since you opened Gold Medal. I've been there since the start.
Because it's actually like a kind of interesting story how I first met you. Because I actually first met you back in 2013.
That's right.
And this kind of ties in well with Cammy's done a really good DIY haircut himself, but me and Peter are obviously just rocking fuzzy mop heads at the minute.
We're following the rules.
Well, we're following the guidelines. Peter, you were working for STV at the time, and wrestling had just been kicked out of the Olympics. So you needed someone to come on Scotland Tonight to talk about wrestling being kicked out of the Olympics. And I think so. Scotland Tonight films at 10 o'clock.
That's right. Yeah, it was on at 10. Yeah.
And I think I got the phone call at 4:30, and I had a tournament in Bulgaria the next day. So I was rocking this fight camp battle beard and battle hair, and I had no time to get the haircut. And I was like, man, I'm going on bloody Scotland Tonight. I've got this terrible hairdo. It was tough times.
They fixed you up in hair and makeup though.
It was all that. What did they put on you again?
With the hair and with the foundation and all that.
The foundation. They made me look good. How have you been getting on? How have you been finding training in lockdown so far?
Well, I've not been home that much. I mean, I kitted before the start of lockdown. I thought, like a lot of people, are going to have to get yourself ready for keeping yourself fit in your own ways. So I think I sent you a picture of my weights bench, and so I set up a weights bench, which I think setting up the weights bench was the most exercise I did with that weights bench in the whole lockdown. But no, I set up the weights bench, a few dumbbells, and I got a spin bike as well, which was really good because again that was something that even if we've actually had a good spell of weather, but when the weather wasn't so good, you could just hammer the bike or even just be sitting on it while you're watching the news or something like that. So if I'm watching any of these media briefings, I can be sitting on the bike and taking notes while I'm on it and getting the miles in. So that's what I've been trying to do, just a bit of a home routine. I haven't done a single outdoor run. I planned on doing outdoor runs, but I haven't done a single outdoor run. But
I suppose it's awkward for you because you're one of the rare people who's probably busier in lockdown than you were, because you kind of seem to be here, there and everywhere, pressuring politicians left, right and centre. That's right.
Well, I mean, quite early on, I agree with or disagree with the journalists who were categorised as key workers for this, and we got a letter from the government through the employer saying, you're a key worker, so basically, go to work. So wherever I've been assigned anywhere, there's no excuse. You obviously take the responsible measures, social distancing, hand washing, all the rest of it. It's changed the way we work. But yeah, I mean, this is the biggest story that any of us have ever seen. It's affecting absolutely everyone. So I've been, like you say, busier than I think I've ever been. I mean, Brexit was busy. Scottish independence referendum was busy, but this is 6 or 7 days a week busy, non-stop. Every time you think you can switch off, something happens. And it's so important. I need to keep up with, I need to be on top of every single twist and turn, and things are changing so rapidly. So I need to be on top of every single new announcement, every single new measure that's been imposed or lifted, every stat that they're announcing on, for the number of people who've got it, the number of people who've died, care homes, where's the new epicentre, all of that, just so that because any minute you could get the call to be doing a live. So it's been pretty full on, and I haven't had as much time. But I've actually found the exercise is a really good decompression thing. You come away from work, and when you're hammering the bike, or if you're on the weights for 20 minutes or something like that, I can squeeze in. I'm not thinking about anything else. I switch off from work at that point. So I find it quite cathartic in a way, I suppose, quite therapeutic.
You get a nice release of endorphins from it when you work out.
Absolutely, and I think you miss that when you're not. I've become to the gym regular. At least I was in once a week with Kieran. I've been doing my own stuff as well, And I think when I'm flat out, you know, there's days I miss it when I'm, you know, like anyone, you miss it. And a lot of people saying they miss the gym, and I think you're absolutely spot on, Kieran. It's what people miss is the feeling good about yourself. You know, feeling the endorphins, the good for you. We know it's good for your mental health, and also when you look better, you feel better about yourself as well. You know, I mean, people talk about carrying an extra weight, and you know, if I'm you know, on the road constantly, it's not necessarily good healthy eating habits. And that's where Kieran came in. One of the big things that we tried to nip in the bud was coming up with good healthy eating plans for when, you know, you're traveling and you're in your car a lot, and a lot of that kind of thing. It's been harder with the, you know, the restrictions in place and a lot of the shops shut and things like that. You can't get fresh food, so you've got to plan ahead for that kind of thing. But I do, coming away from it, if I get a young baby as well, and if you get away from work, you want to spend time with the family, and you get, you know, just an hour in a day, maybe, you know, it's a rare moment, but it really does feel good when you get to just hammer the bike or the weights, and like you say, those endorphins, and you're not thinking about anything else. You sort of zone out, and it's so important, I think, to have that.
I think it's just a good escape for some people sometimes.
It is, and you can't, you know, you remind yourself, you know what it's like if you're on the weights. Yeah, it's de-stressing. You're thinking, oh, you're stressed to get it all out. But also, yeah, you kind of you also remind yourself what you're capable of. You know, you remind yourself of, you know, I can actually do this. I can lift weights, and I can do that. You know, I can do the bike. And you feel good about yourself. I think it's an escape from the kind of the so much negativity just now, and it can be doom and gloom. And you feel positive when you do that. You feel like it's also a sense of normality. It's something that, you know, we all would have had. You know, you guys more than me, but you would have had as a big part of your life, your whole life, is workout routine. Part of your life.
I was going to ask you, Peter, like you said, you started training with Kieran in 2017, but like, did you do much sports and activities in your youth at school and stuff?
I did, yeah. When I was a kid, I was always played football. When I was really young, I was doing karate, and then nice. When I was a teenager, it was boxing. I went to a boxing gym in Kieran Park. It was it's where now the MTK gym is near there. Do you know,
Portland Road.
Yeah. It's actually that the MTK gym's on the opposite side of where our gym, the Bad Apple gym, used to be. I got to the final of the Scottish Championships when I was about 14 or 15 or something like that.
I feel this is a good fact. Many people may not know about you.
Might not, and I got beaten in the final by Pilkington. So if he's listening, I'm calling him out, a rematch. I felt hard done by. It was a split decision. I don't know if he got to the judges, you know.
Because I think like one of the things we want to do, I guess, is just like delve into like even like some of their backgrounds and like kind of stuff when they're younger. Like one of the things that we want to do a lot is like kind of talk about fitness in Scotland. So like, what was PE like for you at school when you were there?
Could have been a lot better, you know. I mean, I think when you're doing it, you don't think much about it at the time. You just do what you're told when you're a kid and you're at school, you know. And when you're a grown up, you look back and you start thinking, you know what, they could have done so much more. It could have been more creative. There was an awful lot of right, get your kit on, it's raining outside, right, go a run around the playground like 20 times until the bell goes. And played hockey, and I mean, we get introduced to new sports. I mean, it was hockey, basketball. As you go older, they just sent you out to play football, and it's the same waited till the bell went. I don't think the thing is, PE it's in the name, physical education, and I have to say I don't think I had that much of an education when PE. It was about keeping active, but I don't think that I learned much about nutrition, about looking after myself, about, you know, what, you know, that kind of that side of it.
I actually feel this is kind of one of the reasons why we're asking people these questions when they come on, like, because I probably had a similar experience to PE as you did at school, and I think Cammy would have as well. Like, I think like in Scotland we just massively miss out on. We could make PE such an overall better experience. As you say, like when my PE experience in probably primary school and high school was just the PE teacher would get a ball out and say, let's have a kick about. It wouldn't even be like we're doing these kind of passing drills or crossing drills. It was simply just like get 10 aside and play a game. Whereas like I feel we could introduce to like so many sports, or as you say, talk about the diet, talk about what kind of cardio training you should be doing, what kind of resistance training. So I actually feel it could be improved in the whole, and I think Cammy feels the same actually.
Yeah, like my only memory of my PE teacher, he was like an old guy that would have a packet of fags hanging out his pocket. That's it.
Great example. Setting an example for the pupils. Well, you know, one of the things I've always, since leaving school, and I remember I was on that programme that you were on, Kieran, Scotland Tonight, the current affairs programme at STV, and we had Nick Nairn on one night, you know, the chef, celebrity chef Nick Nairn, and I was talking to him, and one of the things we were talking about was when even that the awareness of nutrition and what foods do for you, what different foods do for you. And he was saying like, why is that not part of the education? I think that could be tied in with PE as well. His thing was that no kid should be leaving primary school without being able to make something, make a basic dish, and they shouldn't be leaving high school without being able to make a 2-course meal. Just a basic 2-course meal for themselves, a pot of soup and a basic, stew or something like that. Just because when you leave school, if you don't know that, you can look after yourself. But they could have joined up thinking, maybe like in some of the education systems in Europe with the baccalaureate and things, you tied up what you've been taught in home economics about, the meal prep and things like that, tie that up with the PE side of things, which is what you guys, that's your bread and butter. You find yourself probably picking up the pieces from people, what they didn't learn in school, teaching them about, how their body works, how to prepare your body after an exercise, and that moves into things like meal preps and stuff like that, nutrition, carbs and proteins and all the rest.
So you didn't get like educated on school, but you were like fairly active when you went on to uni. Did you like continue with fitness, or did you get sort of distracted?
Totally fell away from it, Cammy. I think that's a key point in like people in the UK. I think we've got a lot for kids, right? I mean, when people say there's not enough for the kids, there are loads of 3G pitches around now. Even when we were younger, we didn't, we played in the park, whatever. We were constantly on the go. If I wasn't training in football or boxing, I was playing with my mates. We were really, really active. But it's when you get to that age of like 16, 17, you start discovering booze, birds and parties, and it's like, your priorities change. But I think that there's a big gap. I don't know about whether you guys see this, but I certainly among my peer group, people who fell away from looking after themselves from sort of 16, 17, 18, and then they get into their mid-20s, maybe late 20s, and suddenly want to fix it. But there's that gap of a year. I mean, I look at it as well. When I was playing football when I was young, we would often, when we were teenagers, we would go to like Holland, Belgium, Germany for football tournaments, right? And we were more physical than the other teams. We were faster than the teams from all across Europe. We were better at football. You look at the list of these European football tournaments, it's Scottish and English teams that win them through the teenagers every single year. But something happens in Europe that they keep that level when they get to 16, 17, 18, and in Scotland, maybe across the UK, there's a point where we lose people.
But I feel Scotland is actually particularly bad for this. Like, I feel like there's so many like footballers who I grew up with that I know are really good, and so many boxers as well, especially, that as soon as we get to 16, we just kind of, that alcohol culture just seems to take right over. And I think like it's the whole going out drinking. Like, it just seems to take people away from their goals, essentially.
The only place, maybe I don't know if it's the climate, Kieran, but when you socialise with your mates when you get to that age, whereas you used to socialise with them on the local park playing football, that's where you'd meet your mates. When you get to an age, the place where you see them is in the bar.
Like, it's just hard. Like, one of the big things I think we could sort is, like, I still think like high school and university, we should like roll out more of an American model. Well, it's learning, but you've also got it very sports centric. Like, they've got like the NCAA where you're having like, there's handball tournaments, like wrestling tournaments, football, like baseball. They've got every sport kind of laid up. And I think when people like graduate in university in America at 20, 21, like they're kept in sport that long. And then it's setting them up to either continue to go to the higher level, compete, or it's just kind of building like a good mindset and base to keep on training. Whereas in here, like as soon as you get like school age, there's like a big chasm of like there's not a lot to do.
Do you think that American model would make a big difference here if we had that sort of almost like the carrot for people to keep at their sport because it could get them their education in their future? Do you think that would make a big difference?
That's what I think. I just think it gives people the incentive. Like, so for like these kind of kids growing up in like tough neighbourhoods in America, like the only way they're going to get university paid for them is to possibly get a scholarship. Mm-hmm. So that like it's not only is it going to keep you in sport where you could possibly progress and keep going, but you're also getting your education paid for. And it's just giving people some motivation to try and get out there and chase that goal.
Did you guys? What was? I mean, you're obviously much more active and much more aware of all these things than I am. And were you both active when you were young? And what happened in those years that I'm talking about for you guys between when you got to that age from 15, from turning 16 through to say early 20s?
Well, I kind of spoke about that on the previous podcast, but that was like bang on the age where I like just put on weight. I was just in the house all the time. I was really sedentary. I wasn't active at all. And then when I was like 24, that's when I started getting into fitness again. So it's just exactly what you're talking about. Without
you knowing his story, Peter, you essentially just nailed it. Like people kind of losing their way at 16, then you get to 24, 25, and you're like, I need to get back into it.
Which the other thing I'm thinking about is the type of activities that appeal to you when you're 16, 17. You know, thinking about maybe, you know, as I say, you're not, you know, if you're going down to the park with your mates and having a kickabout or whatever it is, and your clubs, maybe you get to 16, 17, that's when people who've dreamed of being a footballer and they've put the work in their whole life, they get to 15, 16, that tends to be the age when most of them are told they're not going to make it and their team's letting them go.
But then you've got like examples like Andy Robertson, who was let go at that age. And instead of kind of giving up, he's probably got a better support kind of system around him than maybe some other people.
Yeah.
And he decides that maybe it's not a good idea to chuck it, and he just builds himself up to the lower level. And then all of a sudden, you're you're winning the Champions League, and you're potentially the best left back in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I don't really think we're kind of missing. Like, I think that's what we're losing people. And just like another point, Peter, like one of the things we're going to try and talk more about is like, we think Scotland's culture, like in health and fitness, falls down compared to other places. I know you've spent time living in Vietnam, so I'd be interested to kind of hear your experiences of what their culture is like for health and fitness and how it compares to Scotland.
One of the things, I mean, Vietnam's changed a lot since I was there in 2004, 2005, and still very much new, opening up to the world. And I was back last year for a story, and one of the things I noticed is a lot more fast food. Yeah. And what I now see is obese children. Now, obesity almost did not exist in Vietnam at any age. I mean, it was so rare to see anyone that was overweight in Vietnam when I was there. And now seeing obese children who are going for pizzas and burgers and all the stuff that we have, you know, we've had our whole lives. So I mean, but I do think over there there's people take care of themselves in different ways. You don't see as many people, for example, going out for runs and things like that. But people are very active, so they'll do things in groups. So they go off like long walks and you know, camping trips over the weekends and things like that. So there's a kind of different focus on it. I think you're right. I mean, we have they eat a lot healthier, but I think the fresh ingredients being available, you know, if you've got really, really good fresh fruit and vegetables, you're going to make a lot of it. I found I ate a lot more fresh fruit and I didn't even realise I liked fresh fruit and vegetables until I was in Vietnam. You know? I thought I didn't like vegetables, and we went there and I was like, wow, this is what it's supposed to taste like. And then you come back here again and I'm like, you know, you taste a banana again, you're like, God, it tastes like a turnip, you know. You know, so we have to, and maybe that's something we have to think about more about, using local food, you know, becoming locavores, eating things that are fresh and seasonal here and what's good for you, you know.
To go back to the diet, like when you're busy travelling for work, do you do a lot of meal prep? How do you eat clean while you're travelling and stuff?
At the moment, it's more important than ever because everywhere's closed for, you know, I could rely on getting, you know, a sandwich or whatever. But so I think about if I've got to drive, I always keep, one of the things that Kieran told me about, a very simple thing to have on is a packet of nuts, like, you know, Brazil nuts, walnuts, whatever, almonds. And one of the reasons for that, Cammy, is that I'm forever complaining to Kieran about this, is that I'll be finishing, maybe I haven't had lunch, I haven't had dinner, and I finish at 11:15 at night, or I get back to the hotel room at 11:15 at night, and I look at, you know, what's available to me. I'm starving, and it's a room service menu that's basically a pizza or a burger or a packet of crisps, you know. So that Kieran, sort of, you know, if you have a packet of nuts on you, that's something that will just give you a bit of sustenance, and I can be snacking on them quickly throughout the day. I tried as well when I was going, I would make up like I wouldn't pre-make, but I have like a bottle of water and the powder for a protein shake. Yeah. So again, something quick, hydrating, but I could be getting something in me that has some nutrition for during the day. But I have to do a packet of fruit, but it's very, very hard when, you know, if you've been working all day and you pull over at a petrol station and you're looking, you're like, I'm not going to get a break to eat, and you're looking at your watch and you're saying, I need something right now. And when you're in that frame of mind, the thing that you crave is like a Mars bar, because it's instant energy and it's, you know, it's going to make you feel full. But again, and that's the education, it's retraining your mind to know that that's not going to sort you out, you know.
In service stations in the UK are just like a nightmare, because like there's nothing healthy in them. It's like Burger King, Greg's, KFC. So I think the key is, a lot of people just give themselves the cop out that, oh, like, I'm busy, I'm not going to have a lot of time, like, and they just kind of let their diet slide. The key is, if you're prepared, like as you say, if you've got the nuts on you, if you've got fruit, if you've got the protein shake, and you can just kind of retrain your mind a bit, like, it's going to help you rather than just being like, I'm busy, like, I can't eat well. When it's not the case, you maybe just need to be more prepared well.
Last year, I tried to go veggie, and I was veggie for the first 6 months of last year, and I actually felt that did make a bit of a difference in terms of, I didn't go vegan, but I was a veggie pescatarian because I eat fish. But I found that actually was, it made me, the challenge for me is it made me think more about what I was eating. Because
it forced you to be more prepared because you've got less options.
Exactly, and it made you you had to be prepared, and you would think more about what you're putting in your body. I wasn't anything, I wasn't making a big deal of it, but it was just I wanted to try and see if I could. I only tried to do it for a month, and I just kept going. But what was interesting is that it forced me to think. And then one of the things you said to me as well, Kieran, was downloading one of the app that I've got that you input your and you input your meals.
Yeah.
And again, when you go to at the end of the day and you put them in, you're like, wow. Or as you're going along, suddenly the next day you start to think, I can't order that because I'm going to be embarrassed looking at the calorie count when I put something on fitness. So I think that's the thing, is making you think about it, finding whatever works for you that makes you think about what you're actually putting in your body.
Because that's the good thing I like about MyFitnessPal, it's just the accountability of having to write down how much you're eating. Yeah. So say you eat like a pack of 3 donuts, and you've got someone who's going to be looking at MyFitnessPal and they're going to see you've had 900 calories worth of donuts, you're less inclined to have the donuts.
Yeah, but some of the things that would surprise me as well, maybe that lack of education. You're thinking, oh, that was quite a healthy meal, and you look at it and going, bloody hell, that calorie count was really high. So I think some of the things that you start to educate yourself as you're going along, because you think, well, I'm not going to eat that again because that was half my day's calories in one sitting.
I know we're a bit short on time just because you're the busiest man during lockdown. So I've got one kind of last harder question, then we've just got a couple of more softball fun ones that we're going to be doing with everyone at the end.
No worries.
This is it's kind of COVID-19 related, but it's more related to kind of what we've discussed about Scotland's kind of health culture as a whole. Obviously the UK has been hit very hard with COVID-19. How many deaths are we at now? 37,000 or something?
More than, I think. You've got a lot of excess death to factor in there as well, But yeah, in Scotland we're certainly.
I was looking at a lot of these stats yesterday, so I've seen Japan. I think it was 850 deaths they've had, and they had no lockdown because they've got some legislation where the government can't lock them down. And if you tend to look at a lot of the Scandinavian countries, their death tolls have been quite lowish as well in comparison to some of other countries. In some of the studies I've been looking at, they say 73% of COVID-19 cases can be attributed to obesity and things stemming off poor lifestyle. So do you think we've been hit harder as a country due to a poor lifestyle? And should this be a big catalyst for the country to think we need to get healthier, especially when you're looking at some of these other countries that seem less affected?
Well, I think that it has made everyone think more about it. The number of people who, in the course of my work over this, have said that the thing that they're trying to do most is stay healthy. Now, whether that's translated into people staying healthy, because it's the one power that people feel they've had over themselves. They're taking more vitamins and they're trying to stay fit because they think, well, if it's going to hit my lungs, I want to have good lungs. So they started maybe considering those things. I think, there are many factors in this country. The elderly and the care homes have been a really weak link in the defence. I think, at the outset we heard the motto, stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. And you'll hear a lot of people saying that the NHS was protected in a way, certainly that wasn't overwhelmed from coronavirus patients, but at the expense of the elderly who might be discharged, free up beds, sent to care homes, and a lack of awareness of what was going on. I think it's been described to me as like the Wild West at times. So I think that's a part of a sort of an anomaly in our country of a way that we look after old people that is going to be changed after this. We're going to have to reflect on that, and healthcare is supposed to be cradle to grave, and at the moment it's sort of almost cradle to until you get dementia. And that's been a big problem. The healthy eating, though, I think that one thing we'll see from this is a legacy of people thinking more about why it's important to stay healthy. For protecting your lungs, make sure they're strong as they can be, and also we'll see a legacy of maybe in 6 months' time on eBay, people putting up dumbbells and bicycles and spin bikes on eBay, getting rid of them that they stocked up on at this stage.
Right, because the Japan example, I like to use because the life expectancy over there is a lot longer than over here, and I just find it just links back to I feel we really have a bad culture of health. It comes down to the lack of exercise, the drinking, and I just feel we need an overhaul from a parliamentary level on how we tackle the fitness and health situation. I feel we've got politicians in roles. Whereas I feel there should be a mass consultation of getting people who are like kind of pillars of the industry and to have an overall look at about how we can get the nation kind of back on their feet and back healthier.
Would have you guys heard about this? And during this the lockdown with people on furlough, the universal basic income has been spoken about.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, you know, it's been. I did a story on it in Finland before where they trialled it there, and there's been mixed success. I mean, you'll hear people that are real champions of it, but there is mixed success and mixed opinions on it. You ever get these moments where you sort of think, if I was Prime Minister or President, what would I do? You know, and one of the things I thought about was, rather than universal basic income, what about universal basic nutrition? What if we were in a position to distribute to every household? You know, you get these things that the people are doing a lot of the food deliveries to the houses now, and you get
Cammy gets one of them, like he gets a health and wellbeing box.
Yeah, a veggie box thing, right? What if that was a government-led thing that you were going to get fresh, locally sourced vegetables, obviously not locally sourced fruit for most of the year, but certainly the vegetables and some pulses and things like that, and then a wee ingredients thing in there that was saying, here's how you're going to look after your family this week with how to make a lentil soup, how to make a dal, very simple dal, and maybe a stew or something like that, right? Just what you're going to need, a few of the basics, right? Part of instead of universal basic income, that takes away the worry about how you're going to feed your family. If you've got guaranteed for the next 7 days that you've got your box, that you're going to be able to feed your family, and we know that it's all healthy, nutritious stuff, recipes in there, how to do it, and then people could then make different decisions about the rest of their lives and the money. But I think if you started with that, with nutrition and the education on how to make the food and how easy it is, because a lot of people in this lockdown as well are selling, you've seen the number of people that bake bread for the first time in their lives, or cooked a full meal for the first time in their lives, and they're saying, I didn't realise it was that easy. I wonder, if I do think, I mean, I'm wary of promoting anything like this, but government, and especially more government intervention in people's lives, people get different views on that. But I think if there is a way that the government should intervene, it should be for the betterment and to make people healthier, because we know that another thing that's going to fall out from this, guys, is the mental health crisis. We know there's a big problem in this country, particularly with young men. You guys know that's a big part of the workout regime as well, that people have found it's helped them in that. At the end of this lockdown, we're going to find that there is it's a ticking time bomb of people with mental health problems that's going to come to the fore. Exercise is going to be a big part of that. How to look after yourself, and that means the diet as well. That's something that maybe the government does start to have to look at, educating people on, and intervening in people's lives to support them better in that respect.
Like I feel that is a cracking idea. Like I was like, where's my Peter Smith vote for Prime Minister here?
Peter, where do you see yourself in 10 years? That's
not in politics, if I did tell you that. But hopefully, finally able to complete a full set on the Airdyne bike.
We've actually getting Peter into BJJ, Cammy, so we're like, his goal can maybe be to submit you by the end of that 10 years.
You know what, I would see if I could, if I could, even realistic goals is what it's all about. If I could get through if I could with my head held high go to like a BJJ class and just even have sparring and knowing what I could look after myself in 10 years' time, I'd be incredibly proud. I think it's a brilliant sport. I mean, it's something that I've come really late to the party on. But BJJ and wrestling as well, I've spoken to you about that, Kieran. I think they're both really, really good. And I've got a daughter now, and these are sort of disciplines that I'd love to introduce her to. I had boxing when I was younger, and football and karate, as I mentioned. But these are really good sports that make you think as well, and it's strategic, and I love them. I think BJJ to me is like a physical chess game.
Yeah. And one of the other questions we're going to start giving to people at the end is, you can make dinner for 5 times, so you can make dinner for 5 people. So you've got that lovely dal you're going to cook. What 5 people are you going to cook them for?
Alive or dead? What's it?
From any time period.
From any time period. Right. Well, number one, you've got to have someone who's going to be a laugh. So I would want a young Billy Connolly to be at the dinner table, keep us all going with it, regaling us with the stories. Fascinated by there's so many people. I guess Oscar Wilde as well, the author Oscar Wilde, brilliant brain of Britain. I'd love to be able to find out more about. I guess I love like great sports teams to see. After just recently, just on the front of my mind, I'm going to invite Michael Jordan to watch the Last Dance. I'd love to know more about that, the drive of that guy. Got to have a couple of women there. See,
it's 2020, so we need to be inclusive here.
Exactly. Well, do you know what? I would have. I would definitely want to have. Do you know, I want to say. This is a bit of a. I want to say Hillary Clinton.
Oh, Jesus. I tell you what, I'm sure you'd have a good time digging in some of the skeletons in that closet anyway.
Oh, just she's seen a hell of a lot. It'd be fascinating. And also, I'm going to say, again, I'm going to go for another woman for that equality. This is do you know, I'm going to, again, another not very popular one necessarily, but I'm going to, in Greta Thunberg, right? Very young. I think she's got very, I'm not saying in agreement, but she's a very exciting mind. There's a lot I think that at that dinner table, there could be a lot of interesting discussions.
I mean, I can't say I'm happy with that last choice, but like, I felt there's so many better ways you could have went there than Greta Thunberg.
Right. Well, if I'll sack Greta Thunberg, and I'll bring in, instead, I'm going to bring in, oh man, there's some people coming to my mind here and I'm thinking if I say their name then my career's over. Let's say people I looked up to in my teenage years. Women. No. Okay, so do you know what? Ronda Rousey.
Nice.
Fair, I'll accept. She's an interesting character as well.
An interesting character. And she's in trouble again at the moment with the WWE.
I think she had some outbursts recently.
Yeah. But again, fascinating person. She's lived a life.
Cam, have you got any final questions for Peter before we let him go?
Yeah. Just one last question is, what have you missed the most? Like, what are you looking forward to getting back to normality? What are you missing the most during lockdown?
If you don't say my gym, I'm going to be severely disappointed here.
Kieran's one-to-one sessions. Can I tell you something? Do you know what I'm most looking forward to? And people are kind of doing it already in a way with it. There's coffee shops have opened up. But I want to go and sit in a really, really, really pretentious coffee shop and order a really pretentious coffee.
It has to be some like artisan coffee house.
And they charge me $5 for it. Yeah. That's what I want. Sit there and then sit for an hour pretending that I'm thinking. I'm yeah, that's what I miss. That. Do you know what? I started, as Kieran knows, I started surfing. I'm missing surfing, so I'm looking forward to getting back into that.
I was going to say you should be able to do that from tomorrow, though. Although I don't think there's much surf at the minute due to the weather we're having.
Yeah, it's not great at the moment, but also it's I'm going to buy myself a board, and when it's safe to do so, I'll go. But that's a great sport as well. Just when you're out there and you don't have your phone on, no distractions. It's good to switch off for a couple of hours.
Not if you can't swim like me.
We need to get you out in the waves. Honestly, it's a really good upper body workout, and it's one of those that you don't even think about it until you're finished, and your body aches for days because you don't realise you've been paddling and pushing up. It's like your challenge, Cammy, the push up chat, the
small challenge, yeah.
It's a bit like hopping up on a surfboard, but you're doing it, all day, and it's great. Yeah.
To be fair, I do want to get into surfing. I do think it's like a waste that I've been to like Brazil and Hawaii and never surfed. Probably two of the best places to surf in the world. Like randomly in the first podcast, me and Cammy we're talking about mindset a lot, and I feel like my mind has just like had like its greatest ever rate of growth during lockdown, and I like it's as if I became a better person like by not leaving the house. It's bizarre. But, like one of the things I'm forcing myself when we can do stuff is I'm going to teach myself how to swim.
Really?
And I'm now broadcasting this out so people can put pressure on me and make me do it as well.
Well, that's it. You have to set yourself those goals. It is realistic. You can do it. I set myself at the start of lockdown. I set myself. There was one goal I did set myself, and it was to do a handstand. And I can now do a handstand. Not a handstand. Sorry, a headstand. For the first time in my life, I've never been able to do a headstand, and I've completed my first headstand.
Like freestanding away from the wall.
Away from the wall. Just set up a wee triangle, 2 hands, head down, walk up into it, legs straight in the air. Honestly, I'm going to send you a video to prove. I've got
That's awesome.
I've taken the goal. I'm never going to do it again in my life because I've done it now. I've completed the goal.
But you just need to tick it off the list, then that's it, done.
I'm just saying, if I can headstand, Kieran, you can swim.
Like I feel like I'm going to need to like blog and document my process to me swimming.
It's a great exercise, swimming as well. Really good.
You can learn at the same time as Sonny, father and son.
Sonny goes to like water babies or something. He's a natural in the water compared to me.
I think you need to borrow his armbands and get in there.
Like Barry always says, like he's a better swimmer than you, and I'm like, I know, you don't need to tell me this. Peter, it was a pleasure. I know we've kept you for far too long, but just we managed to keep on going there.
Just take the extra time that I've given you tonight. You take it off my time on the Airdyne bike when I'm back in.
Mate, that'll be my guarantee. Your first session back for an outdoor PT, possibly that has now been legislated by the government that we can do. I will not have you on that air bike.
Brilliant, guys. Like, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to getting back into the gym. It's the best, definitely the best. I mean, again, through the years, I've tried different PT sessions, but it's definitely the best that I've had, and that's why I've stuck at it for the last 3 years.
Cheers, Peter. It's always good to hear.
Cheers. Actually, before I go, the pressure must be on you, though, Kieran, because every time I'm on TV, it's Kieran's workout plan as seen on TV. You need to make sure I'm in shape.
Randomly on another topic, when Peter came to the gym night out, he met a couple of the members, obviously, when we were there. So one of the guys who trains at the gym is me and Cammy's pal Sean. Sean messages us every time Peter does a report, and he's like, "That's a cracking report by Peter." he was in the group chat the other week there. Peter was spot on there.
It was, to be honest, it was in the Monklands. That was brilliant. That was so good.
Thanks, all a great team. It was hard. It's a hard story to do, but no, it was good. A great team. So if anyone's watching this, you can tune on youtube.com/ and I'll say them that. Yeah, look out for the report. It was a good one. But look, thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys the time for having me on, and wish you all the best with the podcast. I'm sure you'll be knocking Joe Rogan out of the park in a couple of months.
We'll have you on it. We'll have you on as a first guest when we nail that 200 milli Spotify deal.
Remember me when you're big. See you later, guys.
Catch you after.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, he was good.
To be honest, the reason why I wanted Peter for the first episode, because I knew he would be good to talk about various topics, and like I feel at some point I want to go in depth on it a bit more about kind of Scotland's health as a whole, but that kind of covered it well. So what me and Cammy are going to do, as well as having our guests on, I want to like talk about a different kind of fitness and health related topic each time. So the topic, like I feel it's cropped up a lot for me talking to the different members during lockdown, is we've just been discussing different diet options and kind of like what can either help their weight loss or like help their strength gains or whatever their goals are. And the big thing I feel that's cropping up is alcohol and how alcohol can affect people's process towards their goals. So the kind of the first point I want to go into about the alcohol in relation to fitness is just the hidden calories that alcohol's that is in alcohol.
Didn't you say like you asked some of the members for their MyFitnessPal their like stats for the day, and you were trying to work out like how they were gaining weight, and then you sort of quizzed them a bit, and you found out that they weren't putting the drink in MyFitnessPal.
Yeah, so because the gym's been shut, I feel we've been more in contact with members, tracking kind of different stuff. So we'll be doing daily MyFitnessPal checks to see what everyone's eating. So a couple of people's MyFitnessPals looked good, but kind of they weren't getting to the goals as fast as they wanted. So we've done a wee bit of a deep dive, and it turned out that they weren't mapping alcohol, which over the years I've noticed like a lot of people don't track their alcohol calories. But one of the guys who will remain nameless, I think he was having 4,000 worth of alcohol calories at the weekend that he wasn't tracking, which is essentially like 2 more days eating worth of calories before he's added any food onto his day. You can see this all the time, Cammy, people not tracking alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. If you cut like 500 calories a day for a week, but then you drink all those extra calories at the weekend, it's just undone all that hard work all week. You've just wasted it just like that.
I think that's the problem, because obviously to lose weight we need to be in a calorie deficit. So it's kind of like a bank. You've only got a certain amount of money you can spend each week. It's like if you're losing weight, you only have a certain amount of calories you're allowed. So like you're undoing all the good minuses you've made at the start of the week by then going over at the weekend. So I actually wanted to get some stats for this, because like this is where like I don't think people realise the amount of calories in stuff. So in your standard pint of lager, there is 180 calories. So like I don't really drink beer, so I don't really know how many pints people have. But when I go to the football with my mates sometimes, like they're having 7 or 8 pints. That's like 1,000 calories nearly right away just on beer.
Yeah, that's potentially like 2 meals or something.
So that's like half your daily intake on beer,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Cider is 210 calories per pint, which is again quite a lot. And for all the ladies out there that love drinking bottles of Prosecco, depending on the brand of Prosecco, you're talking 500 to 600 calories.
In a glass?
In a bottle. Sorry.
I heard a glass of wine is higher calories than a donut.
Oh, easy. Like I'm sure I wrote down like a bottle of wine. Cause I tracked this with one of the guys last week. Is like 600 or 700, 600 to 800 calories again, depending on if it's white, rosy, or red. Depending on values. Say you have 2 bottles of wine, 2-3 bottles of wine of Prosecco. You're talking 15 to 2,000 calories. That's your whole day's intake, and then you've got to add your food on top of that.
Yeah.
And then
it's not just that, but like then it's the follow up. It's not just what happens that day. It's the next day, the hangover cure, because everybody wants to get takeaway or something. They can't be bothered cooking the next day. They feel like that junk food's going to make them feel better, and they can't be bothered cooking. When in reality, a nice healthy meal would probably make them feel better.
That's the next point we're going to go into. Is like it's not the damage. It's not even just the individual damage of the calories of the alcohol. It's like, you know, it's like when people go out for a night out in Glasgow, they'll drink all the alcohol, which will probably be a lot more than any of the numbers we discussed, and then they'll go into a kebab shop or a chippy or a McDonald's at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's another 1,500 calories. They wake up the next morning with a hangover. They're probably going to get a fry up, and then probably be another takeaway at dinner, and then they'll munch on junk food throughout the day.
Yeah, Iron Brew or something. Like, it's just all
chocolate. And you're talking about like that one session of drinking is led to 5,000 or 6,000 calories, which could be like half your weekly intake in like 2 days.
Yeah, and like mentally it'll stunt them if they've been like feeling really good about their progress, and then they've done that day, they screw up, and then that could just sort of snowball. They'll be like, well, screw it, I'll just eat crap again the next day, and I'll just eat crap again the next day, because they've kind of knocked themselves off that momentum they had built up.
And it's just a bad cycle as well to get into, because you're like, oh, I'll start the next day.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of flows, because the hangover's going to affect you as well. Like some of the guys I know have week-long hangovers. So like I know some of the guys in the gym, if they're out drinking on a Saturday, I'm not going to see them to the Friday.
So, yeah. Or if they do come in, they can't put in the same effort they would be able to otherwise. They might not hit the same numbers they're used to hitting, and then they'll feel demotivated about that as well.
So like not only have you got the negative effect of what's in the alcohol and the calories effect on you, it then's going to impact your training for the next couple of weeks. The next week. It's probably going to impact your performance, because again, the lack of sleep is going to come into it. You've not had a great sleep, which is then going to knock you off, and it's just like a bad cycle. But obviously, from the gym, like we kind of advocate a sustainable lifestyle. Like any diet or health routine we would give, we want people to sustain. So like we don't want, like, we know people are not going to drink, but it's just kind of how you're going to deal with it when you drink. Like you can make healthier options when you drink. Like I checked out earlier. Like spirits are obviously a lot less calorific than like beer, lager, and wine. So like if you have a gin and slimline tonic, it's only like 100 calories, which it's not ideal again if you're knocking lots of them back.
Mm-hmm.
But like just like you can make healthier food choices, if you're going to go on like a big night out, you can also make healthier alcohol choices, or even stuff as simple as if you're having a vodka and Coke, have a vodka and Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Like it's just trying to like.
It doesn't need to be one extreme or the other. There can be a balance.
It's just trying to make healthier decisions. Like even if you know you're going out to get drunk and it's going to be a bit of a mad night, there is a healthier way to try and do it.
And you can maybe meal prep for the next day or something, so that you're not tempted the next day.
And again, that flows into it. Like one of the big things I always try and say to people when I have a big night out, like I always try and train the next morning.
Yeah.
Because I feel if I train the next morning, that's automatically putting me back into a more positive mindset.
And probably a horrible session, but you have to graft through it.
Like, you feel rough at the time, but after it you feel a lot better, because you're like, right, that's exercised some of the demons of last night. You've sweated some of the alcohol out, and you're in a better position, like physically and mentally, to then start attacking the week.
Even if I suppose if it's not like a hard session in the gym, just get out, go a walk or a wee jog or something.
Well, it doesn't need to be a hard session. It's just go out and get some kind of physical activity. Another thing we know is alcohol's a depressant as well. So, you know, it's like people that get hungover and then they get like that depressing way, like they feel rough. Whereas if you go out, go like a nice walk, go a little jog, go in the gym, just like hit like a lightweight session. It's just good to flip that mindset and get yourself back in an even keeler. So that if you're out on the Saturday, you're kind of naturally making yourself feel a bit better on the Sunday, and then by Monday you're ready to attack the week again, rather than you spend that whole Sunday junk food, kind of fizzy juice, your sleep pattern's been rubbish. Get yourself back in an even keeler and you're ready to attack the week again.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you got any other points on the alcohol debate?
I don't think there's any debate really. I think, like, you know, we don't want to just say people can't drink and stuff. There's more negatives we didn't cover, but I think it's more just being smart about how you approach it.
And just being aware, like, of like maybe tracking your alcohol and like working out how that's going to affect how that could affect your goals as well.
Like maybe on your night out as well, tell yourself, right, I'm going to have X amount.
Like I'm going to have 5 or 6 drinks.
Yeah.
And then that's it, rather than bloody 10 or 12. and then coming into the gym on Monday being like, oh, I'm rough, I don't feel good. To which we have no sympathy for. And they're like, right, okay. The session still stands, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Randomly, another point, so I feel this is a very Glaswegian Scottish thing. Bottle of Buckfast, guys, over 1,000 calories in it. Because randomly one of Harry's pals, like, obviously I'm on this bit of a health kick during lockdown, wanted us to have like a Zoom kind of party thing where we'd go on and like just have a bit of banter and like drink.
Pub quiz night or something.
Yes, I've obviously said, I'm not drinking, but I'll come on. And she's like, oh, but you can have a bottle of Mad Dog. And I'm like, you do realise there's 1,000 calories in a bottle of Mad Dog?
So much sugar, eh?
It's so much sugar, so much caffeine. 1,000 calories in a bottle. Think of that, people, before you make choices.
And like if you are training, like it's proven. I've not looked up the studies or anything, but it's proven that it slows muscle repair, it reduces your testosterone. So if you're training, it is really going to interfere with that.
I mean, there's absolutely no good side effects to alcohol, really, apart from the slight buzz you get off it at the time. Because you're right, it's not helping your muscles recover. It's dimming your testosterone. It's got a kind of depressing quality to it. It's going to make you feel rubbish. But as we say, we're not telling you not to do it. We're just maybe saying try and be prepared and have a bit of an overall look at maybe making better choices depending on what your goal is. Because if your goal's not to get fit, go and do what you want. But if your goal is to get fit, maybe take some of the advice we're saying on here on board.
Yeah, I agree thoroughly.
Definitely. So guys, we hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Gold Medal Mindset. We'll be coming back to you in the next few days with another guest and another topic. If you have any topics, please let us know and we'll make that the topic of the day. Anything else to finish, Cammy?
Yeah, just fire in any feedback, anything you'd like to see us, anybody you'd like to see us have on the show, anything we should work on, that'd be great. Keep
the feedback positive because we appreciate that. Negative feedback we will take on board but maybe not enjoy as much. Right guys, cheers, catch you next episode.